Daryl's to LA with 28 starts, 2,292 yards, and 14 touchdowns in his time with the Patriots. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are live. Taters Bar and Grill. It's going to be a long day. We'll have some fun with it. It's a pretty cool day for me because this is the first time that Sean and I get to sit face to face and do this thing. I'm going to let you eat, brother. No. Go ahead and eat. The wings, whatever the chicken you have.
Some char-buff lips.
Okay, it smells amazing. We're going to set the challenge that if folks will register here at the Tanner's Sports Bar, we've got 2 autographed Huskers jerseys that we will give away before night's end. We've got 2. We've got a Stanley Morgan signed jersey, and we've got a Jason Peters signed jersey. We'll give those away at some point today here live. Just come down, register. I need to talk to Cassie and see if they have an app that we can have folks to register and kind of show us that they did that. But we're going to be here until – I'm going to be here till 8 o'clock. Sean's going to be here till 4. After Sean goes home and handles his business, Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman will join us here at Tanner's. He'll go until 6 o'clock. And then from 6 to 8, it's What's the Buzz with Huskers basketball assistant and director of player development, Buzzy Carruthers. He's got guests in tow who knows who shows up. We just kind of wing it. But here are the specials so you know what's going on today. For a chance to win a $25 gift card, go to Tanner's Facebook page. $4 each for Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Seagram's, Windsor, Wild Turkey with a mixer. Oh, my goodness gracious. And remember, if you don't have plans for the postgame show, stop by Tanner's. We'll be back here Saturday, 90 minutes after game time. We'll go 2 hours. We'll have more jerseys that we'll raffle off and give away, and we will stay connected. I want to thank you folks who are active on the Starter Heyman text line and the Hot of Lincoln hotline, 464-5685. If you have questions for Sean, questions for myself, go ahead and lock those things in. And then you can follow the live video stream presented by Starter Heyman. It's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have at it. You can see what's going on. Both Sean and I are freshly shaved, so I think it's not a bad day. It's not a bad. Let's bring in the man, Sean Callahan, Husker Online. Sean, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, DP, it's great to be in Tanner's. I mean, you're going to be living here today. You'll be here for a while.
Yeah, football season. I was looking for a Sunday place when I don't go on the road, like I don't go to a ball game. But yeah, that's food.
So you'll be here for the game, probably. You'll watch some of the game here.
Yeah, I usually watch. Last year we did post games here, and I usually got here at halftime. I'd watch the first half, and I'd get here and kind of get the pulse of the fan base. And last year was difficult. There's no other way to put that. But amazingly so here, the numbers of fans who hung out with us through the season got bigger and got bigger. And by the time we got to the end of the season last year, they had people standing in line trying to get in. Even with the mask mandate, we still had folks trying to get in. So well done in picking Tanner's. I've done more than my share of nights here, but this is the spot.
Yeah, I live down the street from here, so it's a great, great spot. And they sponsor a lot of our other NIL shows we do too. So they're a great supporter of all sports talk radio.
What do we need to do? And this is a great time for me to ask, what can we do? What can 93.7 The Ticket do to help promote the Husker Online show?
Well, our radio show, Husker Online, we drop it in the middle of the week,
okay.
Like on Wednesdays, typically on a game week. And you guys have you guys are the first affiliate to air the Husker Online show as like Saturday morning driving to soccer practice, driving to the gym radio. And John Gaskins years ago, when we launched our first episode, we dropped one episode and he goes, Sean, we want to air this on the ticket.
Yeah.
And so like episode 2 and this week was episode 348.
Wow.
So we've done 348 straight weeks of the show. You guys have carried it for 347 on the show. So we appreciate that. And we've added more on the channel with NIL. We have the JoJo Doman show, The Beat, which has taken off as fast as you would expect. I mean, our Adrian Martinez show had the most downloads we've seen on any podcast that we've done.
Wow.
And then we do the off court show with Bryce and Trey McGowan. So we'll be taping that tomorrow. So we drop JoJo's show Monday, Husker Online show Wednesday, and then off court with the McGowans on Friday. So we have a nice little healthy Monday, Wednesday, Friday content, and it's been great. I mean, it's added a lot more work, but it's fun work.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It's curious to me from your perspective what name, image, and likeness is going to do for media and access. Like, is this going the way you thought it would? Is this going at the speed you thought it would? Is it going in the direction you thought it would?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, yeah, it's definitely created more access. I mean, I think we don't know where it's all going to end up because I do think once ABM gets established with Jared Lamprick and the guys running that's going to add even more money that I don't even think people realize exists to give to the student athletes. And BYU kind of made the first move, and I envision this ABM is going to do some similar things for Nebraska athletes. They've already had meetings with volleyball, with basketball, with football, and it's moving quickly over there in the Haymarket at their offices. So I think that's going to take things even to another level. Right now, it's Lexi Sun stuff, it's Adrian Martinez things here and there, it's the podcast that we're doing, guys running camps. That to me, we're just at the introductory stages. This is going to blow up once it gets organized at a high corporate / booster level.
Are you surprised at all at the competency and the openness of these student athletes?
No. I mean, yes and no. I mean, JoJo has just been a pro. He's 24 years old. So when we come in and do a podcast, he's ready to go. He has a plan. He brings the guests up and we go. I mean, so that's been really interesting just to have different people in and out of our office doing the show with us each week. And the basketball guys, I mean, there's so many new faces on that team. It's like you get to know people I never would have met before, like CJ Wilcher said hi to me on campus. I just would never have known him if it wasn't for doing the show with him. So just getting to know all the faces we're going to see in Pinnacle Bank Arena, because there are a lot of talented guys on that roster that nobody really knows about. And the way the media access has been over 2020 because of COVID, it's been limited. And I feel like this show with the McGowans has helped people get to know a few of these guys at a level. Like we had Eduardo Andre up there for 3 full segments. And, it was interesting to hear him talk about living in London. And
he's a special kid.
And, he's like, yeah, I grew up in London when the Olympics were going on. I could see the Queen of England off our 15th floor high rise we lived in. Just interesting stuff where every guy has a great story on that basketball team. And these types of shows allow them to share that versus the podium stuff that you do. And I mean, you're just so limited in what you get to do now as far as asking those types of questions in those settings.
Do you have much engagement with parents?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously JoJo's family is different. I mean, his mom has an extensive marketing background. His dad's a sports agent. So for NIL, they're as in tune as anybody as far as their organization and what they're doing. But, in this, I think over time, once people see what types of things that you can bring to benefit athletes and yourself both, people are going to take your phone calls because I think a lot of guys are interested in making money and doing these types of things. And to me, like doing NIL, like radio and podcasting, that's good NIL. That's beneficial to the fans. And there's content out of it. It's not just like a tweet for a business maybe that the guy's not even interested in, but he's going to tweet about it because he's going to get paid for it. I mean, this is enlightful NIL content. And I think that's why I enjoy doing it, because I know we're giving hopefully the fans something that they wouldn't have been able to get otherwise.
We're talking to Sean Callahan, Husker Online, and when all of this started to take hold, my question was, what are the coaches going to do with a player who has a platform and is able to communicate? Is there a bridge that's between the coach and player and you to kind of say, hey, look, stay away from this. We don't want to talk about this.
So technically the coaches can't get involved in NIL. It's got to be separate. So at this point we've had no like interference. I think the interference is the schedules of guys. Like we're taping on Mondays with JoJo from 2 to 3:30. That's like the window that guys might have before films start at 4:30. So, you've got to like organize it. And sometimes a guy is not available. We might have to come in on Sunday and do it. So just changing my life to get things synced up is probably the challenges that we've dealt with. And, like the McGowans, there's a class conflict on some days and that day. So, I think that's from our perspective, the hardest thing with NIL right now, doing a show with athletes that are really, really busy, is managing the schedule and then getting guest commitments and guys to come up to the studio. Because having someone in the studio makes the whole show versus
much easier.
The phone. I mean,
yeah.
You're dealing with a little bit of a digital delay and other things. And it's been fun and challenging at the same time.
How much of the schedules that you set for folks, and it's important for you to give them consistency, and you do a really good job of it. How are you going to handle in season with these student athletes?
Well, we've got the plan for JoJo's show. I mean, that's going to go for sure 18 weeks. We just did number 4. And if they play in December, meaning a bowl game, we would go through December. The McGowans right now, we're committed for 6 months, and we've done 8 episodes already. And, I'd imagine we'll roll that in. But, yeah, the challenge will be when basketball starts, like building it around travel days, home days, off days. But it could be a lot of fun, too, to figure it out to when it makes sense to talk about, the games and what days of the week are the best days. Right now, it's fairly easily because they're not doing anything at this point.
Right. It's interesting, right, that volleyball, football, basketball have kind of been at the forefront. They were the easiest targets. What other sports do you imagine that you guys are going to get your podcast into?
Maybe baseball.
Yeah.
There's a chance. I think if they get good at baseball, there's a possibility for something with a player. You got to really figure out the best way to make it entertaining and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's going to get 5,000-6,000 downloads a week, or a healthy number.
Well, if you had it last year, you certainly would have got them.
Right. Exactly. and so something, because I feel like the coverage is limited with baseball right now. You get Will Bolt's radio show during the week, and you get him once a week for an interview, and you get a few players that they bring out, and that's it. So there's definitely a lot of stories there. And I've been here when baseball gets hot. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that parking lot is full all weekend of tailgating and fun, and everybody knows who the weekend rotation is and and who the starting 9 are. And I mean, it got pretty close, or we got to that last year.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be that way again. So yeah, there's potential, I think, with baseball. I mean, heck, wrestling's good. I mean, there's a lot of potential, but it's a matter of like doing a weekly show. There's not a lot. I mean, that's not necessarily a fit for everything.
Right. We're days out. Illinois, lots of conversation about who's going to play, who's going to start, who we think those projects will be. I'll ask you what I've been asked. How much trust, comfort do you have in that Adrian Martinez can be the version of Adrian Martinez that this team needs?
I mean, from what I hear, I have a lot of confidence. I mean, I think he's really put together a nice camp. The pressure is off him. There's no longer kind of a staged battle with him and Luke McCaffrey. And
I'm glad you probably need to say that again, because I think that what you just said about Luke is vital. So if you could say that again, it would make my heart shine.
Yeah, I mean, just a staged battle. I think last year it was a battle. I mean, because Adrian had a poor 2019. Like his 2019 was statistically one of the worst years we'd seen. I mean, 58% passing on that offense, and just the turnovers and his injuries he battled. So a competition was warranted going into 2020. And Luke's athletic ability intrigued a lot of people. But as we learned, when the Bullets were live, he didn't see the field. He didn't know how to read after his first read, maybe. And 21 runs in the first half against Illinois, didn't tell anyone. I mean, that was crazy when you go back and watch that game, that he was on a pace to break the school record for carries in a game for any ball carrier as a quarterback
ever.
And all because he couldn't make decisive reads in the cover 2 defense. And, then when he started throwing the ball in the coverage late, I mean, that was just a disaster. And then you go back and watch Adrian, that was the team he torched his whole career at Nebraska. His best games came against Illinois. So that was a moment where, then he comes in and starts moving down the field. But yeah, Luke leaving was a blow, but in some ways might have helped things, because I think it would have complicated a lot to try to, make McCaffrey and his camp happy if he's not the starting quarterback.
What happens Saturday morning with the announcement of who the first team running back is?
I continue to believe it's going to be Gabe Ervin from just everybody I talk to. But I think about history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if a true freshman's ever started a season opener at running back at Nebraska. Now, David Horn and Amon Green started games as true freshmen
later in the year,
but I don't know about opening games. So that you put Gabe Ervin in a rare spot. Now, Sevion Morrison sounds like he's coming on right now. Sevion's had a nice camp, and Marquise, I think, has really played well too. So they've got 3 guys, but I just tend to believe that Gabe has been the guy, at least coming out of the spring, and he's had some moments in camp as well.
I think a lot of the lead has been buried. They said they want a home run hitter at that position, and Gabe's been the guy.
He had a 65-yard run of scrimmage.
Like, that's been the guy. So in my heart, the guy who does everything well, and I'll ask you to break down what they each do well. But in my mind, Gabe's the best, the most complete all-around back. What say you?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think he can catch, he can block, he can run, and he's got some explosiveness. He's not Roy Halou fast, but he's fast. And Marquise gives you short yardage. And I think Sevion can do a lot of the same things Gabe does. But it just feels like Gabe has an edge over Sevion. But Sevion has played really well and added some good weight to his body as well. And I think they've gotten bigger. I mean, pretty much every back. I mean, Urban's like 195 maybe.
Okay.
But Morrison's 200 and Steps 235. So they've got some size at running back now that should make a difference in this league compared to a year ago having to play Wandell in that role and Ramir. And Ramir, I just don't know where, like, Marvin Scott and Ramir, they feel like the odd man out right now, odd man out at this point.
Isn't that odd? Like, that seems odd to me, that the guys who know the system, who've had the most experience, had most time to build up their body, get control of the academics and the social life and all those things, those guys aren't a part of it. I'll ask you, who has, at the end of the game Saturday, what running back has the most carries?
I think you got to get a feel for the hot hand, but to me, you got to stick with Gabe on that, Gabe Ervin. And I believe they want to run the ball. I mean, I think you're going to see Nebraska try to get physical and establish that week 1, and then they're going to have 2 more games in a row to kind of master that with Fordham and Buffalo.
Can they run against Illinois' linebackers?
They're running a 3-4, and I think first game running a 3-4, there's going to be some opportunities to run the ball.
Okay,
because you're going to have as long as Cam Jurgens can handle the nose up front. I mean, you're going to have guys running free to those linebackers, and there's going to be opportunities there. I think Nebraska feels like they have a very good game plan going into this, from what I understand.
Who lines up at receiver 1, 2, and 3?
That's a great question. I mean, Samori Torres, the Duck R.
Okay.
I'd like to say Omar Manning, but you just hear things like, I know he's missed a little time here and there in camp still. So we'll see where he factors in. I do know this: when Omar Manning's out there, Nebraska's different. defense have to account for Omar Manning, even if he's a decoy.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time thinking we're not going to see him, but I'll be curious, like if they give him the whole playbook or if it's going to be a role. And I think Oliver Martin starts, if I had to guess. I think Xavier Betts. I mean, those guys right there are probably where I lean. And I think Wyatt Lever is going to play more snaps than people probably expect.
Do we change the attack and the approach because Vokalek won't be in the picture? Like, does it mean with Hickman being the second tight end, does it change the way they're going to play call?
I think a little bit, because you get Vokalek and Allen. I mean, you're going to see probably a ton of 2 tight end personnel,
4 tackles.
Yeah, I mean they're and they're going to load up. And they had, Vokalek is probably one of the better blocking tight ends in the conference, and maybe the best blocker on this team, like pound for pound. So that's a blow, and hopefully he's back by Oklahoma or whenever it's going to be.
Have they detailed exactly what's going on with him?
No. They've kept it pretty close. I mean, if you talk to Scott Frost, he's day to day and he's dinged up. I mean, they've kept it pretty all injury stuff. That's all Frost is, unless it's season ending, and he doesn't necessarily drop that. Like, you have to like get it from a source. Then then you have to specifically say, "Hey, coach, did so and so get injured?" And then he'll. But he's not gonna just give up the goods.
Well, especially this week, he's not
no
to do that. Before we go to break, the change with Tanner Corcoran and that situation as iffy as that is, does that offensive line match up the way Husker fans need for them to with Illinois' front?
That's going to be something to watch early in this game, because if Corcoran starts, is he rusty? And if he is, how quickly do you go to Brant Banks? And I think Brant Banks has the versatility, but to play guard, but all of camp he's played left tackle in place of Corcoran. Sichterman's going to be locked into that guard. I mean, that's a guy Greg Austin really believes in, wants out there. Piper, as we know, is a guard, Juergens, and then Benhart. So, yeah, that left tackle is the key position to me on the line, what that looks like early on, and can Corcoran produce? It's going to be hot. It's going to be 90 degrees out there. So, guys are going to get worn down in that heat. And that's another reason why you wonder if Nebraska wants to kind of slow it down a little bit, because you don't want to get gassed and run out of gas in this game early on in that afternoon heat in Champaign on Saturday.
I just think whoever has the better bigs on Saturday have the better chance to win. We're live at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Sean Callahan from Husker Online is with us. He'll roll through to 4:00. Come on down. We've got raffles. We've got prizes. We've got some autographed jerseys if you guys want to get your name in the pool. We'll do that. When we come back, we'll go to the other side of the ball. Ask Sean about what he thinks about this Husker defense against an Illinois offense that had a whole lot of success a year ago. We'll be right back.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
T.O. Haas Tire and Auto.
T.O. Haas Tire reminds you there's still plenty of summer left for one more long weekend, one more day in the sun, or one more getaway drive down your favorite road to enjoy one last stretch of summer. And we're here to help with up to $100 back on a new set of Michelin tires, including the all-new Cross Climate 2.
T.O. Haas Tire and Auto.
foundation of trust.
Everyone loves a good deal, and there's plenty of great options right now at Brown Shoe Fit for their summer clearance sale. Check out their multiple sizes and widths and sandals with brands like Clark's, Keen, Aetrex, and many more. Hurry in for the best selection because this sale only goes to the end of the month. It's the summer clearance sale at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln. Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Join DP and Jay Foreman on Wednesday at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. DP will go 1-1 at 3 with Husker Online Sean Callahan, and Jay joins in from 4 to 6 to preview the Illinois game and more. That's all this Wednesday at Tanner's 30th and Yankee Hill.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
Baseball's back, and it's time to celebrate, Lincoln. We're inviting fans back to Haymarket Park to join in the fun for the Salt Dogs' 20th season. Pick out single-game tickets and plot your own Salt Dog schedule around promos and deals. Come to Haymarket Park for Nebraska Medical Association Thank You Tuesdays, Fairbury brand Wiener Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, Fireworks Fridays, Souvenir Saturdays, and Sunday Family Fun Days brought to you by Casey's. Get your tickets for the Salt Dogs celebration season at saltdogs.com.
Back to one-on-one with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are live from Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Sean Callahan from Husker Online is here with me. He'll be here till 4. Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman will join us from 4 to 6 o'clock, and then Buzzy Callahan Husker basketball will join us from 6 to 8. We'll be here. We've got raffles. We've got autographed jerseys. You get a chance to win a $25 Tanner's gift card. Go to Tanner's Facebook page, find the post that's promoting the giveaway, and guess how many points Nebraska will score against Illinois. Tag a friend in the post for who you'd spend the gift card with, and make sure it's really a friend, because no point in wasting your money with somebody that's fake. Today's food and drink specials, all-day Boogamania, $7.99 half-pound burger with fries, Whiskey Wednesday from 6 p.m. to close, $4 each. Take your pick. Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Seagram's, Windsor, Wild Turkey with a mixer. And remember, if you're looking for a place to come hang out after a Husker victory Saturday against Illinois, come to Tanner's. Jay Foreman and I will be here with more prizes, more giveaways, etc. Sean Callahan, we talked about the offensive side of the ball, and I think I think the feeling is this: people want to trust this offense, they want to trust the defense, and they have concerns still about the special teams. For you, defensively, what's going to be issue one? Is it the 200-plus yards rushing that Illinois stacked up last year? Is it uncertainty at linebacker positions? What do you think? What's issue one?
I don't put much stock on the defense's play in that game last year because they were put in bad positions. Between the turnovers and the lack of offense the offense got, it put the defense on the field way more than they needed to be. And then they get a stop, and Illinois gets a freaking fake punt. You know, like they did their job at some moments in that game, and they still didn't get bailed out by the special teams or whatnot. So I know it was a bad day for the defense, but I think they just kind of broke after all the other things around them broke.
Is having the players who actually returning, who were starters a year ago, who purposefully came back to right a wrong, are those guys good enough to make a real run in the Big Ten West?
I think in this league, it's kind of like basketball. You see these old teams. In the Big Ten and football, it's not like the SEC. It's an old league. I mean, the guys are older. SEC is a 3-year league.
It's a pro league.
The Big
pro
Ten's
it's a pro league.
take a charge 5-year
Hey
league.
man, hey, I'm here as long as the money's flowing. Right?
I mean, yeah, there's 24-year-old guys in this Big Ten this year. I mean, it's a old man's league right now. So I think they're built maturity wise like a Wisconsin or Iowa now. When you look at some of these veteran teams that win in the West, you can't do it with young kids unless they're elite like Ohio State has.
At what point does the bridge get closer to Ohio State? Like this is a league of Ohio State and everybody else. At what point does the bridge get closer? What's it going to take?
You need a couple different. You need a third down pass rushing guy like a Randy Gregory again, somebody that can change a game on third down on defense. Randy Gregory, a Sue, whoever. Easier said than done, as we know.
Right.
And then on offense, somebody that can make things happen. Amir Abdullah, Rex Burkhead type guy that can take 1-yard plays and make them 5-yard plays. I mean, those little things are the difference to stay in those games and put yourself in position. But you need more depth in the program. Nebraska hasn't had the depth.
You talked about it's going to be a hot day Saturday in Champaign. And Nebraska says they're 6 deep with the big boys up front. 6 deep. Do they get beyond that? With that kind of heat, first game, post, you're still in the pandemic. What's that going to look like?
Well, maybe Brock Bando could come in if he had to for a series. Trent Hickson, if he had to. I mean, I don't know if it goes any deeper than that. Hickson, Bando, and Banks. I mean, and Banks would be the first guy in. Maybe Nuri Newelly finds his way in.
Okay.
A big part's Benhart. How will Benhart play it right? I mean, is he going to hold up and have a good game? Ethan Piper. I mean, there's guys, they're starters, but they still need to play well, I think, because I feel like they've got options if a guy's not playing well this year.
Who's at advantage? Scott Frost with super seniors, 4th year. Brett Bielema, year 1, 29 super seniors.
Yeah, I would like to say Nebraska, because I think Nebraska's got more speed on their roster. I just think they've got more guys that can break a game open now at receiver, and I think they've got options at running back. And I think Brandon Peters is just an okay quarterback. I mean, 2019, he played terrible against Nebraska. Couldn't complete it. I don't know if he completed a pass in the second half.
He was not good.
And then in 20, Nebraska just handed him the game, and he did what he was supposed to do at that point.
I try to be respectful of opponents, but I was asked to do a couple of shows in the Illinois area, and their confidence was at 10. Like they felt like, well, listen, we don't care what the odds makers say. We've got 29 super seniors. We went to their building and ran them out last year. We've got a once in a decade offensive line. For you, what group does Nebraska have to be better than Illinois to get a win?
I think up front, Stilley, Daniels, and Robinson and DeAndre Thomas, like those guys need to establish themselves early in this game. They can't allow just those 4-yard runs to start happening. I mean, they've got to win at the line of scrimmage and have a lot of no gain 1-yard type run stoppages. And I think they can. Illinois lost their best offensive lineman in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're plugging in a new FCS guy as a starter. I get it. They've got a lot of guys that are back with experience, but I don't look at them as elite linemen.
Yeah, it was weird to me to have them boast. Well, this is a once in a decade offensive line. And I went, wow, okay.
It's basically a bunch of guys that had to come back because they weren't good enough to go pro.
Yeah, I mean that's the part that missed. But
and Nebraska's in the same boat though too.
That's my way. Truth to be told, that's exactly what they said was Nebraska. The guys who came back weren't Big Ten beaters, so in their minds they feel comfortable. The linebacker position for the Huskers, there are bodies and there's depth. Is it quality?
I think you got 3 in the middle, for sure. As we know, you got Henrich and Reimer, and then Kolarevic. I mean, those 3 guys, and Snodgrass to an extent is there. You'd love to have Honus still if you could, but JoJo does what he does. He's kind of, to me, the guy that is the glue of the defense.
He's also the wild card.
And, how they use him and what he does. Like, they just don't have anyone that can do that. But then now I think they have 3 guys that can rush the passer on the outside: Caleb Tanner, Garrett Nelson, and Feldarius Payne. They will bring Feldarius up as like a 4th rusher, and they'll move Ben Stilley in almost as a traditional 4-3 tackle. So I think the versatility of the scheme, and how they've tinkered it to utilize the skills of the pass rushers they have, that will be something to watch.
In my head and in my heart, my vision for that defense is with Feldarius as the 4, and that to me changes the way offensive schemes will go after Eric Shenander. I think he has to be accounted for
as the 4th rusher.
Yeah, he could be the guy that do the. Without him, do they get enough pressure on Peters?
Well, I think Stilley and Ty Robinson can get to a quarterback.
Okay.
But in a 3-4, it's different, as you know, being on that D. You're taking on 2 guys. So it depends how those guys are lined up. But I think Garrett Nelson and I'll tell you, Caleb Tanner's added good weight. He's finally bought into the nutrition and got himself up to where he needs to be. So I think he's going to have his best year at Nebraska. And, he's played this will be his 4th year playing.
If you had to choose, who's the opposite corner Saturday?
Quentin Newsome.
You feel good about it?
Yeah, I think he's the guy. Braxton Clark could come in there. Tyreek had, I think, a setback that it's kind of taken him out of the race for a while, but he'll be in the mix. But I think Quentin Newsome is the guy that starts in this game. And I'm sure Miles Farmer, if they roll a 50 defensive back, they could bring Miles Farmer in, and Deontay could play a nickel. I mean, I think Travis Fisher does not say anything. Like he flies under the radar as much as any coach with his recruiting, with how he moves things around. So I'm really intrigued to see kind of if what they do, if they go nickel or dime, like how do they rotate guys around in that situation?
If Illinois is run first, which they were a year ago, how do you think Nebraska lines up against that?
I think if they're running first, you're going to see a lot of Damian Daniels, and they'll be more in a traditional 3-4 with Stilley, Robinson, Daniels. But they might bring in DeAndre Thomas too and go 4-3 as well. I mean, I think there's the ability to bring in DeAndre, to bring in Feldarius, and have like a 4th guy up there on the line and take out a linebacker at that point.
Yeah, I love the depth in the secondary, but I'm a little concerned about personnel on the field for the right situations. Like, that's going to be a big thing. The adjustments that Nebraska makes if Illinois goes big, if they go jump.
Well, who's hurt? Like, they've got some key guys out on offense, right? Hightower maybe, and at receiver.
One of the tight ends, one of the receivers are both hurt.
And then Juice Williams, how are they going to – I envision some jet sweeps with Juice Williams that's going to test Nebraska's defense.
Jet sweep and throw. And I listened to 2 defensive backs talk about the receivers from Illinois, and they felt like 1-to-1 that they were just simply better than they were. They thought they were good enough to free up the front 7 to do whatever they want to do against Illinois, which I think is vital for them to have success. But if I asked you a number, last year they rushed for what, Illinois 280, 285?
280 too much.
Yeah. What's the number in your mind that Nebraska has to hold? Like, I don't think Illinois can throw the ball and beat it.
I think under 200. I mean, you'd like to keep them under 200. The thing too about that number is, are we taking out the sack yardage? Because they'll sack Peters a little bit, and he's not really a runner. So I guess the true tailback yardage is a whole different deal versus QB run yardage worked into that, or QB loss yardage added in that number.
I just felt like in a new year, with all the distractions and all the speed bumps along the way, that Nebraska's pretty healthy rolling into Champaign. I think that's a big deal. And I think injuries will play a part in how the season goes.
8 straight weeks.
Yeah. To go through and to be healthy, rolling into Champaign, I think the advantage. Your thoughts on the 7-point number?
I think I think Nebraska is closer to 10 better than Illinois today if I was handicapping it, but the lack of trust in Nebraska is what's bringing it down to about 7.
That's kind of what we're thinking. I think I'm looking up. Jake, can you tell me that final score? The Little League World Series.
It's 10-0 Texas.
Didn't go well. Okay. Well, I just wanted to give a shout out.
Hastings,
to the boys from Hastings.
Done now.
Yeah, give a shout out to the boys from Hastings. Well done, young men. Look, they represented well. We'll throw the break. When we come back, Sean will finish up. We'll talk a little bit about the coaches on either side of the ball, and then what he expects from the fan base. What's the temperature of the fan base? We'll have that for you and more. I'm DP. It's one-on-one.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A heat advisory will once again be in effect today, although it will be a touch cooler than yesterday. We should top out near 94. Winds still out of the southeast at around 10 to 15. A slight chance of storms this evening into tonight with a low dropping down to 72. The heat is back in a big way tomorrow as we'll top out near 99. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Ow! God! Ow!
Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
At MD Pain, we know chronic pain is a problem. It can lead to isolation, depression, and the inability for you or a loved one to live the life you want. That doesn't need to happen. Chronic pain can be effectively managed. The doctors of MD Pain wrote the book on effective, ethical pain management. Get actual solutions with the most up-to-date, clinically proven treatment options available. No one has to suffer in silence. Get real treatment for chronic pain. Call MD Pain.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Baseball's back, Lincoln, and that means Fireworks Fridays are too. Come out to Haymarket Park for Friday home games to celebrate the Lincoln Salt Dogs' 20th season with baseball, giveaways, and of course, post-game fireworks. We're glad to have you back in the stands. Watch us light up the sky for our celebration season. Get your tickets to the best night out in Lincoln at saltdogs.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drive-bys is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
Youth ice hockey registration is open now. New for 2021, the Lincoln Ice Hockey Association is offering 8 and under hockey for $75 with all equipment provided. No experience is needed, and the first 8-week season starts in mid-October. To register or for more information, go to lincolnhockey.org. $75 youth hockey with all equipment provided at lincolnhockey.org.
You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
People come, people go. In this business, you never know.
Final segment at 3 o'clock hour. We're live at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Come on down. Again, we got contests. You got several different opportunities to win jerseys, to get Tanner's gift card. Sean Callahan from Husker Online joins us. And as we go through it, what's issue one for you? Like, of all the things you think about, what's the first thing you have to see happen Saturday that makes you feel good that this thing's going to end well?
Execution out of the gates. I want to see crisp play script execution when they start that game up. Obviously, no one wants to see a quick 3 and out or a penalty or something bad on the opening drive. I just think how they come out will be huge.
Do you have any inkling about what their identity is going to be offensively?
I think they want to go downhill, and I think Scott Frost has learned what works in this league and what doesn't work in this league, and I think he knows what they have to be more of, and that's more physical, more ball control. I mean, look at Minnesota. PJ Fleck evolved what he did, I think, to fit the Big Ten, and he limits the game and controls possessions and slows it down, and when he has to. You can't be the full UCF system the way it was in that conference in the Big Ten. It might work on some days, but consistently it's hard in the weather and the talent level on the field. You've got to evolve more to fit this league, and I think he's learned a little bit about what works in this league the last few years.
What can Scott Frost's offense do that will make it simple on Saturday? I know they say they want to get downhill, but is there a win? Do you think left tackle's the spot? Is it right tackle? Is it behind Juergens?
I think it's running back.
Yeah.
I think if they can get production from the tailback, it takes all the pressure off Adrian Martinez, and then it opens up the passing game. And, Scott Frost in 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 7 is just like any coach in America at 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 7. They've got to get in good situations to really utilize the strengths of Scott Frost's play calling ability.
Who does this team offense run behind? Like all the great Nebraska teams, I
would say Juergens is the staple. Corcoran, I think, could be that guy once he's back rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But I think today, Juergens, your center, is the guy that's going to be the general out there for you on that line.
So dive, inside zone read, outside zone read, flare. But it may work.
Let's not call the backwards pass first play.
The backwards / forward pass, the lateral that wasn't or was to do that. What play gets run the most this year? Like what can they do well?
That's a great question. I mean, I think they want to simplify some power runs. I think you have to have 2 or 3 core runs build the offense around to open up everything else. And once Dedrick Mills got hurt and fell apart last year, they lost all of that element. And then they had to hit the panic button and go to Wandell. And they didn't really have a true running game for most of the year last year.
Who is the best offensive player not named Martinez?
I would say Samori Torre or Austin Allen.
Well, because most coaches will say offensively, my scheme is one thing. My scheme is what I know. But what I need to adjust to is the talent that I have to display and to work with. Usually a coach will say, my best player is the guy. I have to figure out how am I going to get him the ball in a place where he can be productive the most often. So if Toure's the guy that's the best offensive player, not named Martinez, how do they get him the ball? Is that moving him around? Is that putting him in the slot where he has a little space? What do you do with him?
Well, yeah, Torrey will be in the slot. So I think you can find ways to get him on linebackers and find the matchups. And that's why they put him there. I think they feel like he's going to give them matchups. JoJo said on our show that Samori Torrey is one of the 3 fastest guys on the team. He put Oliver Martin and Deontay Williams in that other grouping. So really is a guy that has great speed.
Martinez will probably carry the ball more than anybody else Saturday, whether we like it or not.
If you count, if there's scrambles or called runs, so that's the question.
What's the preference though?
What I'm interested in is how many called runs are there versus say scramble runs, and those scramble runs, are they free yardage that you just take and run out of bounds? Are they yardage where he's going to get smoked?
Yeah, I'm okay. Like I look at it this way. Scramble runs are chaos. It means something went wrong. The planned runs, as much as people kind of cringe at the idea, is Nebraska's offense on an attack, hopefully to attack a weak point, and then hopefully to set up something else better. How do you look at it?
Yeah, and those called runs, you don't want to get it to the point where it's so obvious, where they empty out the backfield, it's 5 wide, and you're like, okay, we know what's going on here. He's spacing out everybody so he can see the coverage and run in the middle, wherever it's open. So they've got to do a better job of when they do call those runs for Martinez, that they're not obvious, where you're like, yep, it's 3rd and 5, and we know that he's going to run it here. I mean, I think that became something a lot of people figured out pretty quickly with Nebraska's offense.
Before we get out of here, I'll read this from the text line. Eric says, if your best player beside the quarterback is someone who's never played D1, you're in trouble. Do you agree with that or not?
If your best player is what now?
If your best player has never played Division I, you're in trouble. You agree or not?
I disagree. There are a lot of really good guys that play FCS football that get overlooked for whatever reason or have a story. Samori Torrey could have got drafted this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
And he wanted to come back to get his stock elevated a little bit higher. So,
well, I think he'll get the opportunity. Sean, it's a pleasure. We need to do more.
Yes,
we need to do.
We'll be out Tanners on these Wednesdays.
We'll do that. We'll do it. See you on Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. The Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman is up next.